Hello, friends and subscribers, and welcome to my third anniversary address and/or retrospective. And behold, my beautiful new avatar, which I am using for all future videos from here on in, until I come up with a new one. But I plan to make this last for the rest of the decade. And, let's see, what else? Oh, yeah. There's a link in the description to my new Discord server, so feel free to join at your will. Again, 24 hours though. But apart from that, let's get right into the meat and bones of this. This is mostly unscripted. I just have a few bullet points for once to bring up different topics. But yeah. So yes, it was on this day 3 years ago where I opened up this channel, the Black Lord of Fenrir. And I obviously didn't upload very much at first. Well, actually, I uploaded a couple videos within the first few days. I obviously released the teaser for History of YouTube Sagas, which would be the main, which was initially only meant to get my channel off the ground, but since it's become hugely popular, I'll eventually have to come back to it after this indefinite hiatus, so to speak. But yeah, we did the trailer, and then I did that video on my take on privilege, which was only 8 minutes long, and it was recorded on my old computer's shitty internal microphone. Same with the first History of YouTube Sagas video on the Angry Homo Kid, which came out a few days after that. I believe it was on January 10th. But immediately after that, I went to, I think it was Best Buy or whatever, maybe Staples, to buy a new microphone. It was kind of like one of those stick microphones. You plug it in, then you talk, which is what I did the second video on, the anti-Disney movement video. That's what I recorded it with. I did that a few days after I did the first History of YouTube Saga. So that was in the middle of January, but I obviously didn't release it until March because at that time I was still in college and didn't have time to make YouTube videos, so that was meant to fill it in for the interim. Then obviously what came next was my video discussing the failed terrorist attack in Garland, and then what put me on the path to where I am right now, because I wouldn't say necessarily on the map, because I still only have 800 subscribers. I mean, this would have been a huge fucking deal maybe 10 years ago, but now anyone can. Even 10,000 subs isn't really that much. But again, I'm not really looking to be YouTube famous or anything. I mean, I appreciate people like, oh man, you deserve 10,000 or 100,000 subs. I don't mind having a small channel. It's nice just reaching people who you can reach. But anyway, yeah, I did the Thunderfoot video with Venom Fang X. Then sometime after before that, I only had about 10 subscribers. Up until that point, then Thunderfoot gave me the honor of favoriting that video a couple days after I uploaded it. And I think I got around 300 subs as a result of that. That's where I obviously came across most of you. Then I moved on to the Jesse Slaughter video a month and a half after that, and that was, to this very day, probably my favorite episode of History of YouTube Sagas I ever did. And it ranks up there as a lot of people's favorites that I know about. And, yeah, then we continued doing History of YouTube Sagas all throughout, up until about almost a year ago. Because I began the second season in January of 2016, so 2 years ago, holy shit. Starting with Boxy, and then delayed it back to a regular basis starting in May 2016. And in December, I did the one on Chris Boers and the Angry Video Game Nerd, and then almost a year ago in February 2017, we concluded with Onision and Mr. Repsian. At the end of that video, I stated it'll at least be a year before I do those again, because I'm gonna be frankly honest, by that time I was actually tired of doing History of YouTube sagas, but you know, that initial lethargicness or whatever, lethargy from doing that is kind of disappearing. I kind of look forward to doing those again. But so that comes to the question: will I be making season 3 right around the corner? Well, I'll tell you this. I do eventually plan on making not only a 3rd season, but potentially more seasons of History of YouTube sagas. But they will not be coming until I've completed the 1st season of Conflicts Unknown. And as you know, I did the 1st episode of that in April of last year, and I guess some of the people are wondering what's taking so long. I actually had episode 2 almost ready to go by actually the end of July of 2017. What's taking so long with that one is I don't want to give too much details on what I'm doing with that one, but there is a part where I'm having my uncle translate something for me. I initially sent him a clip to be translated because, again, without giving away too much, it's not like I'm needing someone to translate a common language. Well, I guess it's common enough, but not here in the United States, at least, to an extent. But yeah, there's a part that I need translated, and I know my uncle's familiar with this language, considering he was an immigrant. But yeah, he's a very busy man. He was busy, so I initially thought, okay, I emailed him the clip and told him how to do it. And it's like, okay, just get to this on your own time. I want this in about a week. Although that never came, and then around Christmas, that was his birthday, and then, I don't know, we talked, and then he called me, and then right now we're actually going to arrange a session where we meet up and actually get that clip translated. And then once we do that, it'll be ready. Although, to be fair, I do plan on re-recording the audio I did for that one. But once all that's done, hopefully that'll be out very soon. I can't promise when. I'm going to hope, but not promise, hope that's going to be out within a month. But again, I make no guarantees. But anyways, so once that's done, I should be able to wrap up the rest of Season 1 for Conflicts Unknown rather quickly. Hopefully, though. But as for the History of YouTube sagas, but going back to that a bit, I was thinking of, since I mentioned at the beginning of this that I recorded episode 1 on my old computer's shitty internal mic, and the audio just fucking sucks. And the same thing, well, no, I used a different mic for the Thunderfoot one, but a lot of people complain about the audio on that being unbalanced, which, we know, when I first listened to it, I didn't notice that. But then when I got this computer and the new microphone I'm using right now, it's also a headset microphone, and when I listen to it, I'm like, oh god, no wonder why people don't like this. I was thinking of maybe remastering the audio on that as well, you know, just so people have something to come back and look forward to for both of those. While we're on the topic of History of YouTube sagas, if you haven't seen my review of 2017, you should go watch that, because as we all know, 2017 was probably one of the most interesting and eventful years for things globally and on YouTube. Like, even way more than, I don't know, the past couple of years. So that's actually going to give me a lot of material for future History of YouTube sagas episodes. But anyway, yeah, moving forward, 2017 likewise, regardless, provided a treasure trove of opportunities to do for future History of YouTube saga. So its return is inevitable, but not around the corner, so to say, if you can understand what I'm saying. Because hopefully, you know, in time we will get more people coming to our side. We'll get, well, again, I guess this channel doesn't really have an end goal in mind. It just, as long as there's drama, there's always going to be stuff to be covered. I try not to cover stuff in the moment. People wonder why I wait 3 years for all this to pass, because I prefer things not to be fresh in people's minds, even though some things always will be. You know, especially the older you are, the larger your perception of time becomes. And so 10 years from now may not seem like that long of a time, and I'm 24, and yeah, 10 years is no longer a very long period of time anymore. I mean, this decade, the 2000 teens, is almost over. I mean, 10 years ago, when I was 14, the 2000s felt like they took fucking forever, but this decade, it just didn't. It probably went by about 2 times the speed that the 2000s did. And that is kind of frightening now that you think about it, but whatever. Well, still, I also have some other ideas for series, because there are some things that I wanted to do last year but never got around to it. I wanted to do another top 10 video, and at the end of my last one, I said I didn't want it to have anything to do with music. I originally had it planned, and I was going to actually work on that once I completed the 2nd episode of Conflicts Unknown. But then by the time I was mostly done with that, it was August, and then I had to prepare for the Phantasmathon, which I did. Because I spent all of August writing most of the reviews. No, I started writing the first one in late August, and ended up writing most of them in September, and then started recording them in October as it comes. Now, you'll notice from July to October, I didn't upload anything, because that whole time I was working on the 2nd episode of Conflicts Unknown, and then went back to working on the Phantasmathon. And then after that, I really started cranking out those videos. Well, that's because by the end of October, I quit one of my real-life jobs, and then I recently picked up a new real-life job. So I was actually unemployed for about 2 months, but now I'm employed again. Although now that I'm employed again, the jobs are actually very different, and then I don't work as well. Yeah, I don't work as often at this new job as I do with the other, even though I get paid more. So now I definitely have and I did that because now I have more time to do more videos for you guys. But yeah, with the Phantasmathon complete, that was another fun project I did, even though most of you didn't get around to seeing that. And then I obviously, looking back, you know, in 2015, I guess maybe I always anticipated my channel becoming somewhat popular, but never exactly counted on it. Because looking back, you know, this year in 2017, apart from that, I did my first collaborations with the Gem of 99 twice. We did one on his channel where we reviewed Godzilla 1998, and then we reviewed The Wicker Man on my channel, although we still used his show as the format. And then obviously other people have approached me for stuff. On Privilege Edgy's channel, I have recently become a frequent guest on his stream, the Anti-SJW Gangbang, so you should definitely subscribe to him and watch the stream, because I'm on it, and plus all the other guys on there are pretty cool, like Miss Steam and Brokenhearted Liberal and Macho, all those other guys, James. Nick. It's a fun show. You should watch it. It's goofy. And then, even before all of that, I remember my friend Mitch, back when he was still Charming Man, approached me to do a guest video on his video. I initially did plan to take him up on that offer, but sadly I never did. But that doesn't mean we still can't do anything in the future, since he's still around pumping out videos more often than I do. Yeah, that's another thing to look forward to, is doing more work with other people in the future. Oh god, my thoughts are jumping around everywhere. Maybe I should have scripted this out, because... Oh yeah, because I wanted to go back to doing more top 10s. Again, the next... Because after I wanted to do the one that was not involving music at all, I would have gone back and obviously made another top 10 metal albums of 1987. But obviously I didn't get to do that. The last one I did wasn't too well received, because it was fucking long, drawn out, and boring, and I put way too much information that wasn't necessarily relevant. But yeah, I mean, there's no such thing as... I mean, the feedback was a little brutal, but I wouldn't expect anything less from metalheads. But yeah, that's given me the determination to improve, make my videos shorter, because that one's probably the longest video I ever did. It's an hour and 10 minutes. I'm going to try to make, if I do end up making another one, I'm obviously going to try to make it at least 20 minutes shorter and get more to the point. And try to do the same, not only for stuff where I'm discussing metal, but for pretty much all other topics I cover in top 10s. But yeah, I guess if we could wrap up with a fucking teal deer, what's there to say? Well, I did a lot in the past 3 years, and I hope to do more in the next 3 years to come. And maybe every year I'll go back and do a retrospect of what I did in the past year and what we look forward to. It's like a New Year's Eve address, almost. I guess it kind of helps that, you know, I started my channel in early January instead of like in the middle of the year, like June or July or something like that. But, yeah, we had a lot of success with History of YouTube Sagas. We'll continue that success. Hopefully Conflicts Unknown will be a success, and hopefully we'll collaborate with a lot more, and my top 10s will be more creative as well, and, yeah, maybe we'll get some more views and subscribers in the time to come. Yeah. And our success will increase. But again, this is all thanks to you, my subscribers. Especially those who've been still kicking around since the early days of 2015. Now, I appreciate all your feedback. I appreciate everyone who's decided to stay subscribed to me after all this time. You know, because again, yeah, I don't want to sound too cliche, but yeah, let's face it. It is the fans and subscribers is what keeps the honorable content creators going. So yeah, I guess this wraps up this little retrospective of the past 3 years. Again, more stuff's coming on the way, and also feel free to join my Discord server. And yeah, Happy New Year 2018.